All right, so I will be looking at the economic size, change, and composition of Tuscaloosa County, Alabama. And I'll be comparing this to Alabama as a whole and also to other college towns in order to identify some of the strengths and weaknesses of Tuscaloosa's local economy. So first, a little background information on economic base theory. In the local economy, there are three actors: firms and businesses, households, and the government, and two main loops: the flow of income and the flow of expenditures. This is based upon a theory called the Keynesian multiplier, which basically means that the local economy will flourish with more government spending and investment. So essentially, the greater the regional exports, the greater the economic growth. And this theory is illustrated by this diagram on the right. The industries we'll be looking at are identified by two-digit NAICS codes. This is an industry classification system. It was established in 1997 to accommodate rapidly changing economics in the wake of wireless communication and the advent of the internet. The main metric we'll be looking at is location quotient. This represents an industry's share of local employment relative to its share of benchmark region employment. In other words, it identifies how relatively specialized a region is in a particular industry. With location quotient, there are four main assumptions: that consumption patterns are constant between the study region and the benchmark region. Same with productivity, that all of the demands that can be met locally are not imported, and that the benchmark region is self-sufficient. On the right, you can see the three largest employers in Tuscaloosa County: the University of Alabama, Mercedes-Benz, and DCH, which is a hospital system. So we can expect those respective industries to have a relatively high location quotient. Now, the benchmark region is important because it can allow you to evaluate the attractiveness of your study region for certain industries compared to nearby regions. A large self-sufficient benchmark region allows for a more accurate location quotient. On the right, you can see where Tuscaloosa County is located within our benchmark region, which is the state of Alabama. We'll also look at basic versus non-basic employment. Basic industries are those that serve broader markets beyond the study area, while non-basic industries serve local customers and regional markets like local government. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the data. Here is the location quotient and basic and non-basic employment for Tuscaloosa County in 2010. You can see it organized by the NAICS codes that are on the left. And then here's the same thing for 2019. So comparing location quotient between the two sets of data, we can see that from 2010 to 2019, Tuscaloosa gained a significant share of Alabama's information, administrative support, and waste management and educational services. It lost a significant share of mining, quarrying, oil and gas, and construction. Comparing basic and non-basic employment, Tuscaloosa had notable increases in several different non-basic or local industries. And there were a few increases in basic or non-local industries as well. And then only three significant decreases in number of employment across all industries. So these bar charts illustrate the change in location quotient from 2010 to 2019 in Tuscaloosa County. I've added some color-coded arrows to the figure on the right, with the green arrows indicating the industries with the largest location quotient increase, and the two orange ones indicating those with the greatest decrease. This figure might be the best way to illustrate changes in Tuscaloosa County's economy, showing the actual employment changes from 2010 to 2019. You can see the large increase in manufacturing, information, administrative support, and waste management, education, and accommodation and food services. Comparing these to a couple different college towns, Lee County, Alabama, which is where Auburn University is located, and Athens, Clarke County in Georgia, which is home to University of Georgia, we can again see Tuscaloosa's relative strengths in similar areas as we've seen from location quotient and the increase in number of employment. So before we draw any conclusions, I want to talk about the location quotient assumptions again. We assume that consumption patterns are constant between the study area and benchmark regions, but obviously there are different consumption patterns for a college town than for rural Alabama. We assume that productivity is constant between study and benchmark regions, but the relatively urban Tuscaloosa produces different products than rural Alabama does. We assume that demands can be met locally or not imported, which is unlikely in kind of our globalized economy that we have. And we also assume that the benchmark region is self-sufficient. And while the state is more self-sufficient than the county, it's worth noting that Alabama is one of the weaker state economies. So relative to the entire country, it's not necessarily self-sufficient. So looking across location quotient, non-basic employment, and the growth of different industries over time, I have identified a few of Tuscaloosa's economic strengths and weaknesses. These can be explained by Tuscaloosa's largest employers. 3 of those employers are manufacturing based, which also benefits the region's real estate industry as people flock to the area for jobs in manufacturing. But Tuscaloosa's largest economic driver is the university. Naturally, this increases the number of jobs in educational services and administrative support industries as the school and its facilities need upkeep. And the large student population also increases the real estate industry and accommodation and food service industry as university students look for basically places to live and spend their money. So that is all I have. There are my sources, and thank you.